Hey there, welcome back friends. In this video we will talk about functions. So let's get started. Now what are functions? Functions are like mini programs which will work for us whenever we call them. Very simple. Now for example, in here we create a string and the string is random, and we add some random text in here. Let me run this. And for example, we wish to check the length of this random string. Then what we can do, we can call in the length function and pass on the random variable, and here is the output, which is 12. Now what is this length? Length is nothing but a function, and this function is already available to us. These are the default functions. Now there could be like third-party functions, standard library functions which can be available to us. For example, in here we can like import random package or maybe math package, right? Let me run this, and in here let me show you the math package. And if we check, we have like many methods in here, right? So one of the method is a factorial. Let us check the factorial of 2. It would be 2. If we check the factorial of 3, it would be 6, right? So these are what? These are again functions which are inside a package. These are standard library functions. Now similar to these functions, we can also build user defined functions, and that is fairly straightforward when it comes to Python. So let me show you. So in here, for example, we wish to create a method by the name of hello, which will only print hello world whenever we will be calling the function. So in here, it will start with def. Def means definition. Then we will give the name of the function, right? Then colon, and in here we will print. Now again, print is also a function which is already available to us. This is a default function which is always available under Python. Now in here, let me print hello world, and let me run this. Now whenever we will be calling the hello method, it will display hello world. Now inside a method there could be like many more things. For example, we wish to add some additional text. Hello world, how are you, right? And then we will call the input method, and we will take the input. In fact, how are you text needs to be inside the input method. Let me get rid of this print, and we should print whatever answer the user gives. So in here, what we will do, we will simply print the value which we receive, and that can be done using the print method again. So it would be like print. Now inside print, we are calling in the input method. So this is interesting, right? Let me run this. Let me call in the hello method, and here we go. Hello world, how are you? I give the answer as good. Let me run this, and there is no output in fact, because we need to use shift enter in here, and now the output is good. Again, let me make use of hello. Let me run this. Oops, it is a method. Hello world, how are you? Let me make use of yet another text. Well, now friends, when it comes to Jupyter and we take user input, we need to make use of shift enter for user input. This run will not work because this run button will execute the entire field and it will cause trouble. So use shift plus enter, and then we will get the output. Now in here, what we are doing, we are passing the input, the return in statement from this input method to print. So this is fairly possible. Now friends, when it comes to method, there are three things. Firstly, the arguments, the parameter of the method, then the method body, and then finally the return type. So let us decode the method in a greater detail. So in here, let me create a yet another method, def. The name of the method is display name, right? So fairly straightforward. And in here, for example, we pass on the name. Now in order to display the name, we need to take the user input, right? So in here we will take the parameter. This parameter is a variable, and this variable will contain a value, and this value will be passed by us. This value could be anything, right? So in here, for example, we now print f double quotes hello, then name, and we run this. And for example, in here we display the name and we run this. It will start complaining. It will say that this is a function. So let us make use of parentheses. Let me run this. It will start complaining again, right? So in here we need to and we have to give for example some value, for example my name, and now this will give hello Chand as the output. So this is interesting, and this is how the parameter can be used. Now in here, this name, the variable which we give as a value in here is the parameter, right? So this is known as parameter, and when we call the method and we pass the value, it is known as argument. Now in here there could be more than one name. For example, f name comma l name. Let me run this. Let me run this code again. Now again there would be a syntax error. So in here we need to give a yet another value, then only it will run. Now if I run this, it should work, but in here there is a issue in the code itself. It would be like hello f name space l name. Let me run this, and here is the output. This is nice, this is interesting, and how easily we are able to execute method. This is nice. Now in some scenarios we can also give the defaults. For example, in here I give the default as steady, and for l name let us give the default as easy. And now we run this, then there won't be any change, but for example we get rid of the second parameter. In that case, the default of the l name would be used. Let me show you. Here we go. Likewise, if I get rid of both the parameters, in that case the default of the f name and l name, both of them will be used. Here we go. So this is how we can make use of parameters, and this is interesting. For example, if I show you print and I display hello first, let me copy this, let me paste it in here, and let me show world in next line. So by default what happens is these words will be displayed in new line, but there are a couple of default values in here. For example, I call in print and run this, then it will say it is what? This is a function. If I make use of shift tab, then there will be this description. Now let me show you how we can understand this. Now these values, these parameters has some default argument, and as a result we need not to provide the value for SEP or END or file or flush. There are like already default set for these parameters, but for value there is no default. As a result, the value needs to be provided. Now friends, in order to get the help, you can again make use of this method. If for example you need help, then you can call in this help method and pass in the name of the method, and it will give you the help which is provided for it. So take a note of it. Alright, so in here we know that there are a couple of defaults in here, and we can override the defaults for the print method as well. So let me show you. In here, for example, again let me copy this, let me paste it in here, and in here if I say end equals double quotes, so now we have overwritten the default of end, which was new line character earlier. That was the reason why we were getting hello and world in new line, but now I have overwritten the default of end, and now if I run this code, hello and world will be in the same line. Alright, so this is nice, this is interesting how easily we can do this. Now finally let us check the return statement. So in here, for example, we copy this and we paste it in here. Let me run this. Now in here, what we are doing, we are printing the values. For example, we don't wish to print it, then in that case what we can do, we can return the values. For example, we wish to return, then we make use of this return statement. Now let me run this, and finally let us try to call in the display name method, and this will give the output, but this output is in the string format, right? So the value has been output, but we can indeed receive the output in a variable. For example, I create a variable output and then call in this method, then run this, then you will not get any output on the console, but if we try to display the value inside output, then the output would be hello steady easy. So this is the advantage of a return statement. This will return a value back. But for example, I again use this particular notation. Let me copy, let me paste it in here, let me run this, let me do the same in here, right? And in here I try to output the variable output, there will be nothing, right? So let me get rid of these statements in order to reduce confusion. So this is how parameters, return statement, arguments work. This is fairly straightforward. Alright, so this is it for today's video. Do practice, and functions are very important, extremely important when it comes to programming. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day and take care.